Hello, a very good morning. I am Swaroop Gandevar, organizer and host at LinkedIn Local Nagpur. And today we welcome you all for a fantastic discussion on future of e-mobility in India. Now, you all must be wondering that yes, it is indeed a need of the hour, but what are the things that are we going to discuss today? So yes, let me first focus on the objectives of this session. The first and foremost thing that we are going to discuss is understand the fundamentals of electric vehicle industry, appreciate the market scenarios in USA and India, the similarities and differences, recognize and comprehend the challenges and opportunities in this sector, understand the general market barriers for new technologies in this sector. After having this discussion, probably there are certain takeaways that you all would be having. So, like, first of all, you will get a clearer view of risk and opportunity for getting into electric vehicle industry, implement learnings derived from the session for individual or organizational development, and last but not the least, clear myths about electric vehicle as a whole. So, as you all are aware, for any discussion, we require people who are having the expertise, the knowledge of that domain. So today we are blessed to have a very talented Dr. Shibashis Bhowmik, who is the president and CEO of SINEWATTS, and Mr. Kamlesh Umale, who is founder of Lenergy India. So let me first introduce Dr. Shibashis Bhowmik. He has a PhD in Power Electronics, Energy System, Machine Drives, and MS in Power Electronics and Signal Processing, both from Oregon State University, US. He studied BE Electrical Engineering at National Institute of Technology, NIT Durgapur, India. As stated earlier, he has a 10 years of experience as an entrepreneur with his startup in clean energy and electrical power energy. His company, SineWatt, uh, has been started with the help of US Department of Energy, which has funded it, right, to develop disruptive power technology. He has been part of multiple engineering teams with PV startups in the Bay Area. At SineWatt, he has highly talented multidisciplinary team, 9 awarded and 5 pending patents, many industry collaboration, and he is one of those people to look after when we talk about EV globally. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Secondly, we have Mr. Kamlesh Umale, who is founder of Lenergy Mobility. He actually provides he and his company on-site training to large and mid-sized organizations and OEMs across India. He helps people to upskill the most relevant employees in different organizations. He is winner of Rex Karmavir Chakra Award and Mayor Innovation Award. He is a sports person and he's a green mobility enthusiast. So we are extremely happy to have such distinguished people with us today as an industry expert. And let us start the discussion today. So let me have asked first question to Dr. Shiba that as per you, if we talk about the electrical vehicle domain, then which is the biggest challenge in EV industry today?
First of all, thank you so much, Swaroop, for having me join you guys. I understand LinkedIn Nagpur is quite a bit of a champion in bringing new technologies and talking about those and making it aware, making India aware of all these new developments that are happening. So again, thank you very much for having both Kamlesh and myself join you here. Coming back to your particular question, let me step back a little bit, if I may, and and give you the perspective behind where e-mobility is headed. So, if we look at the first generation of electric vehicle adoption globally, uh, Europe, US, and then there are a few other countries. We are primarily seeing electric the drivetrain from gasoline vehicles becoming electrified. So that is where we are seeing the majority of development that is happening over the last 10 years. Now, what we do believe, and this is where the biggest challenge that shows up, I'm addressing your question, what is going to happen is when these significant number of vehicles get online and need to be charged, get the powered into the vehicle, that becomes an enormous challenge. I mean, how do we do this sustainably, clean, with renewable energy, which you already know that renewable energy is very intermittent, right? So solar, sun doesn't shine all the time and wind doesn't blow all the time. And so you have to mitigate those fluctuations. And therein, all these challenges of grid integration of the renewable energy and also the enormous demand that is coming online with electrified transportation. So that is probably one of the biggest challenges that we are going to be encountering. In particular relevance to India, I think the challenge is even bigger because the Indian grid, the electrical grid, may not be as stable as with the developed country for various different reasons. We don't have to go into the reasons of why it is not that way. But what I do believe is that therein lies an enormous opportunity for India because the solutions are probably available, and if not, innovation to bring the solutions can be made to happen.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Shiba, I firmly believe that we are living in an era wherein we should take challenges as an opportunity. So whenever we talk about EV, when we talk about sustainable energy, when we talk about clean energy, it is something that we need to focus on. So moving ahead, I would like to ask this question to Kamlesh, that adoption of electrical vehicles in India has the potential to disrupt the automotive market. However, opportunity exists for startups to build an early advantages. But how? So that is my question, Kamlesh.
Thank you, Sarup, for introducing me and calling me on LinkedIn platform. And thank you for your question. And India is like a new market for electrical vehicle now. But as you see, the metro cities in India, like if you say in Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Nagpur, uh, is the these are the cities are built up with IT hub, and there are more people, more educated people here. So adoption of EV is right now seeing faster in India right now. Government of India also developing the ecosystem here and supporting every startup in Startup India, Make in India projects. Recently, the Hyderabad government have supported many startups and companies to make the land, make the subsidy plans for them, and proper if we say to the startup point of view, logistic and the cab system in India, they have started adopting the electrical vehicle in India. So the broader it's the vision of electrical vehicle is broader right now. So, and if you say electrical vehicle perspective view of a startup in a cab system, it's a adoption of a new adoption of a new technology to the Indian market, and the the company can save the money out of it. Like some of the companies are putting the money in petrol, diesel, and somewhere else, but the electrical vehicle and the electrical power is the one you can save the money from your for your pocket. So the business model for the future of electric vehicle be for a good, it's a good perspective.
Yeah, absolutely right. So moving ahead, I firmly believe that a lot of scope is there when we talk about the clean energy or green energy or even our EV industry. So Shiba, what are your thoughts that if we talk about the research and development landscape in the EV sector or EV domain, then how rapidly it is evolving? And do you think we are on the verge of providing sustainable solutions?
A good question, Swarup. So, if I may quickly jump into the last end of what Kamlesh was mentioning, and then I'm going to tie into the innovation piece that you're talking about for sustainability aspect. So, Kamlesh was spot on. The opportunity with electric vehicle is actually twofold, and that is the electric transportation, which is cleaning up our traveling modes for terrestrial purposes from gasoline to electric. So that is one piece, right? And if we are able to do that with clean energy sources, we have clean transportation going on. So that is one piece. The other piece to that also is if you have solar panels on your roof, or your neighbors have solar panels on their roof, you would be able to monetize that and drive your vehicle based off on your energy that you own. So that ties into the transactive energy sources and the transactive mechanism, which brings into many layers of regulatory structures and other things that will happen. So I'm pretty sure, India would have to also craft many different policies and regulatory structures to make that all play out, which is already happening in California and other places who are actually taking the lead. Now, to coming back to the innovation piece with respect to sustainability, I think if you look at it, again, I'm going to go back to the progression of our evolution with electric transportation. If you look at the last 10 years, or maybe over the last 15 years of development with electric transportation, the biggest impact that has happened was the cost reduction of batteries and volume production of batteries. The combination of those two has taken us or taken humanity to a point where we can now claim, thanks to all the stalwarts that has brought us here, now we can actually claim that electric transportation with EVs is a feasible mechanism for humanity to take forward. But what we do need now is the powering infrastructure for sustaining that mode of transportation in a sustainable manner. So that aspect, I do believe now has to be taken on, and probably in the next 5 to 10 years time frame, we are probably going to make that all happen and play out. Now, there has been a certain platform of how vehicles need to be charged and how vehicles need to be powered from renewable sources or from other sources straight from the grid, that has been promulgated over the last 10 years, right? So now we probably have to step back and think that through, if that is indeed the most sustainable manner of handling this or not. And if it is not, then what is the right way to do it? We believe the fundamental core piece to make it all sustainable is a power electronics problem. Today, we are encountering a major power electronics problem. I call it a problem, but it's basically, if we are able to innovate, that becomes the opportunity to solve this problem.
Very true. Dr. Shiva has highlighted one of the very important aspect during the answering this question, and he stated that Indian government has to come up with a lot of aspects. So my next question is to Kamlesh, that what do you think, which type of role or what type of support do you expect from Indian government in developing or coming up with this solution?
First of all, from 2014 to right to 2020, Indian government have taken a mode of accepting and pushing electric vehicle in India right now. One of the ministers, Nitin Gadkari, he has proposed for right now for a research and R&D in India, and this is the first step for Indian market to innovate and take a step to new technology. If we focus to the right now the electrical vehicle that are moving ahead in the roads that are acceptable from the different countries, they are not being modified or innovated in this scenario. But right now India should take a step, take it research and development on electrical vehicle, focus on developing new technology that will be accepted, if India can modify that, the other country can accept that. The India can be one, if we say the engineers in India, IITN or NIT, a big engineer colleges, these students can take it over and make innovation out of it and modify the electrical vision in India. And perspective of a government should focus on developing this kind of R&D in different metro cities and support the students and the startups that are moving ahead on electrical vehicle. Between that, the Delhi government or the central government or the Bangalore, Telangana government and the Maharashtra government, they have taken a step to the subsidy point of view also to promote the electrical vehicle in India. Developing the ecosystem of research and development and the SME companies in India who can support the development of batteries and the other stuff of automobile in Indian market. So government is taking step slowly, but the point is not.
So yes, it's very important for us to understand that government is taking steps and we also need to support them. We need to understand, help them, because we have to come up with innovative ideas, and if we have innovative ideas, then how it can be implemented, that's the next step. So well said, and it's a really a very important thing that is happening in our country, and it's great to see that all the governments are supporting state governments, and let's make something out of this together. So, Dr. Shiba, I would like to ask you from the wide experience that you have in this particular domain. So, how e-mobility affect any society?
Swaroop, I mean, this is a great question again. You have a series of good questions coming up. If I may tie in the answer to what Kamlesh left off with the governmental regulation, if that's okay with you. So the way I view, and this actually ties into what I'm going to be talking about in particular to your question, as an answer to your question. So if I look at the government, the responsibility of government to cater to the society and help bring new innovation, the way think of all these the companies or the entities that are trying to bring sustainable electrified transportation, all the various, the large scale or the small, the SMEs that are involved in the process. I mean, think of they are kids playing in a sandbox, and all the government needs to do is formulate the regulations to a point where everybody can play and develop solutions that is for the benefit of society. So let me give you a particular example. Right now, the electric vehicles are becoming, because of the magnitude of and the quantity of electric vehicles coming online, which is something that the electric grid has never seen in the last 100 years of its existence. That level of load on the demand side has never occurred on the electrical grid. And so we need to come up with policies such that electric vehicles do not become a burden on the network, doesn't become a burden on the grid. Because if we make electric vehicles the burden, then we have to solve that aspect also by developing significant amount of supply mechanism for clean power. And this problem, from a decarbonization point of view, that is, we are trying to make it all clean, climate change being a big impact for all that, it is just not possible, at least in my analysis and a few other people that have been studying this for an extensive amount of time, we just cannot scale this problem linearly. That means, I mean, we have 100,000 vehicles coming in, and at the same time, we linearly scale the deployment of renewable energy. It just doesn't work that way, because once you do linear scaling of the renewable energy on the supply side, you would have to build a significant amount of infrastructure to make solar panels, to make wind power turbines. So the way what we call it is that we need to solve this problem exponentially. The time for linear scaling for solving this problem is over. This decade that is coming up is the time for actually bringing in exponential solutions. And that's where India, the Indian government, can play a significant role. The way to do that is, how can we make the electric vehicles the infrastructure of the grid? The electric vehicles be the part of its own powering supply for the grid. And we do believe there are solutions out there are technologies out there which has not been deployed in the last 10 years, because the industry was focused in trying to make the transportation electrified. Now it's the time to bring the exponential scaling of sustainable transportation for the global platform. And I do believe that India can actually take the lead. Now, on that point, just to finish off on that topic, is that once we are able to make the electric vehicle the platform or the rolling power plants, then, and it becomes the infrastructure for powering its own requirements, then it actually becomes like the micro utilities. You can power up villages, you can power up little societies where they have been underserved over the last few years, because it is prohibitively expensive to deploy traditional power lines. So that community can be again brought up and brought online with this new arrangement.
Absolutely. I thoroughly agree with what you've stated, because when we talk about developing an infrastructure, there are so many vital aspects that we have to take into consideration. And we are talking about the government taking initiatives, so obviously it will be on a very large scale. So when we talk about the large scale integration, it takes time. But if it is planned and if it's systematic, probably it will take into consideration all the future aspects. Like you have stated that our grids were never ready for such sort of a load, and all of a sudden, a lot of people have started using EVs. So yes, it's a challenge. But my question is on the same line for Kamlesh. That what do you think? What are the biggest challenges as far as Indian automobile industry is considered in terms of the research and development?
Yeah. Uh, as you all know, India is the one country who is like adopting the other technology from the other countries. Same, it's happening in the automobile sector. Only one company in India or two company in India who's owned by their like Indian owners, and they are manufacturing cars. Some two wheelers in electrical vehicle, they come up with new name in India, a startup. They have also invested, taken investment of huge in for manufacturing in India. I will not take the name, but this is the companies or the startups or the joint ventures in India. They are adopting the new R&D and the new technology and innovations. But for developing this, they have to ban the other uh, local product like from China or any in other countries. Right now, how India market is going on, I can figure out for this kind of stuff. Like, some of people are small players, or they have some of money. They are bringing the vehicles from the China and coming within India, and they were disturbing the market. They do not have a technology, but they were coming with a simple technology and they were selling in the market. For after 2 years or 3 years, this will not happen, because the technology or new startups that are coming with an electrical vehicle or automobile sector, they will be having a brand name. And from this, they will from this, the people of the industry of R&D will be more supportive from this 2020. They have a proper vision of 5 years for developing a new technology, and they should push make in India in a proper way, and they can grow a beautiful innovation that will benefit India market and Indian roads, and the basically the poorest people, those are buying the vehicle in India. Normal category people, those having at least 30,000 or 25,000 in their pocket for monthly, they can also buy a proper electrical vehicle for their family. So research and development is important. Government also supporting. We should also support from a different universities. We should take a step with universities. When the university student will have a good knowledge, they can come up over after graduation and take it a new technology in Indian market.
I totally agree with you, Kamlesh, because until and unless we don't have a workforce, a skilled workforce who is eager to work on it, on these aspects, probably we cannot prosper. So we need to develop, inculcate this thought process right from the time these people are in their colleges or in universities doing their graduations, and we have to make them understand that going further you have enormous career opportunities in this sector, provided that you acquire those skills. The skill set has to be acquired, and it's very important. So Dr. Shiba, I would like to ask you one thing. This is really very important. I believe this is the most important question, that how India can contribute to the global EV industry. I would like to have your views on this.
This is a great segue actually for me to bring up the topic that Kamlesh did talk about, and then probably address this. It's a great segue for doing that. So Kamlesh talked about Make in India, right? What I would say, Make in India is not a license to copy in India. Make in India means that we have to really make something that benefits Indians, number one, and hopefully with the same structure that would affordably be able to make India prosper. India can then take it to the rest of the planet, like in the Southeast Asian countries, the South Asia countries, the rest of the South Asia countries, the Southeastern Asian countries, and then Africa. And so that model can be actually emulated in very different ways, right? So that's so to again piggyback on what Kamlesh was trying to explain, is that India has to innovate. India's grid structure, India's vehicle requirements, India's roads are very different than the United States, are very different. There is quite a bit of similarities, obviously, but there is quite an extreme amount of differences. And that doesn't mean that, we have to exactly copy everything that has been going on either in Europe or in the United States, because it doesn't benefit the society, because the nuances and the requirements in certain pockets of the society are very different than in the United States. So there we can see that there are some structures that are happening in the United States right now, and I'm extremely encouraged about that, for the next generation of adoption of electric vehicles and how to not pollute the electrical grid, India can actually take the leadership on that front. Seeing the writing on the wall, India can actually take that leadership and position itself as a new leader with e-mobility. I think that's what Kamlesh was trying to emphasize. Now, how does this translate into where India can contribute to on the global stage? So once we innovate, let's say, I mean, in India, once that platform is completely re-architected for a true sustainable transportation, guess what happens? The rest of the world would be eager and hungry to adopt that. Because if it is really clean, if it's low cost, and it serves the society, there's no point. I mean, there's no doubt that everybody would want something like a platform like that. And so this is an enormous opportunity. What I call is probably an opportunity of a few lifetimes that we'll be ever given. And India can actually innovate for India's own benefit, for her own benefit, and then bring it to the rest of the planet.
Probably one thing, Dr. Shiva, that you have stated here, which is very, very important, which has to be noted by all. One size fits all is a misconception. That one solution is applicable for all the problem. We at India, we are having different challenges, different opportunities altogether, and we have to innovate at our end. We have to understand and come up with solution for our problem. It has to be an indigenous solution. Yes, whatever is happening in the rest of the countries, they are coming up with the solution for the problems that they are facing. At our end, we have a different infrastructure, we have different workforce. Yes, they are very capable, highly efficient, but yes, we have to take this opportunity. We don't have to take this as only challenge. We have to convert into opportunity and move along with the expertise. And yes, for expertise, we can take help of people. Somebody like you who is always helping others to carve a niche for themselves. So it's always a big thing. So कमलेश जी, एक्चुअली मेरा एक सवाल ये था कि बहुत सारे लोग हैं वो जानना चाहते हैं कि अगर हमको इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल के इंडस्ट्री में आना है तो हमने क्या करना चाहिए?
इंडस्ट्री में आना है तो सबसे पहला तो जेब में पॉकेट में मनी होना चाहिए. Part of joke, but industry में आना है तो you have a proper knowledge about the battery. You like technology wise you should be sound good, because electrical vehicle is not a part of only putting a battery or a motor in गाड़ी and go to the market. ऐसा नहीं है अभी आज के सिनेरियो में. आज के सिनेरियो में ऐसा है कि मतलब आने वाली जो टेक्नोलॉजी है that will be fully modified with IT, मतलब like AI भी उसमें रहेगा, IoT will be assembled with batteries, motor. आपकी गाड़ी कितनी चल रही है, आपकी गाड़ी चार्जिंग होने से पहले कितना गाड़ी चार्ज हुआ है एग्जैक्टली, तो वो पूरा सिनेरियो. इफ आप गाड़ी चला रहे हैं तो वो आपकी गाड़ी का इफ बैटरी लो है तो आपको नियर बाय का चार्जर स्टेशन कहाँ पे है वो भी पता लग जाएगा आपको, और आपकी गाड़ी फुली साउंड हो जाएगी. दैट विल बी वर्क ऑन लाइक इट्स अ कंप्यूटर बेस्ड टेक्नोलॉजी. ओनली सम new innovations like in technology wise if you see मोटर टेक्नोलॉजी में कुछ चेंजेस आएंगे, बैटरी टेक्नोलॉजीज जो ज्यादा चले इन मतलब जो ज्यादा रन हो लॉन्ग रन टाइम पे, तो दैट विल बी मोर गुड फॉर अस. शिबा अच्छे से ज्यादा समझा सकते हैं इसको.
No, you're doing a great job, Kamlesh. My only request is we have audience from all over the world. Yeah. Let's keep it in English to the maximum if we can. I mean, if you want to crack a joke in Hindi, that's a different story. But the meat of the topic, if you could keep it in English, my only request, because we have a pretty big audience from the rest of the planet. So.
Okay, perfect. So I will shortly I will say like India, like in technology wise, if you come down to you should we have a proper knowledge about the technology. Is it in battery technology or is it in the motor technology that you are working on, and the technology that we will yeah, we the 5 year of gap, it will be the new technology of IT and the mechanical engineer that will be work together in this industry. Like AI and IoT is the one of the biggest softwares and the technology that will be integrated in electrical vehicle in upcoming years. So Anna, if you want to come to this technology, you should be sound good in mechanical and electrical and the part of IT. You should have a good knowledge about this.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your these insights, because you know what happens. EV is something we call it's a buzz. Everybody wants to get associated with it, but there are very few people who actually understand what EV is. And if you want to get into this industry, like we have said, there are entry barriers, there are exit barriers, but you need to understand what are the technological aspects. You have spoken initially about the financial part also. That's very important. We need to understand those things. So before we sign off, I would like to take final words, final view from Shiba about future of e-mobility in India to sum up your views on it.
Well, I see tremendous opportunity, right? I mean, India has a very deep talent pool of people, future leaders, students coming out of engineering schools. I mean, it's enormous. The opportunity for India to take leadership position with e-mobility is just vast. We have probably India has a few of the best schools on the planet, and I mean you can go on and on about it, and the sheer magnitude of people getting into the STEM programs, it dwarfs probably rest of the planet also in that sense. So India is in a unique position to be able to, and it's a democratic society, so everything can be, the regulatory structure, the regulatory policies are well crafted, there is a legal base behind everything, they are challenged in courts. I mean, everything is well formulated in India. What we now need to do is truly make things in India, not borrow ideas and repackage it into some kind of a new tool or new looking solution, but really innovate for the Indian requirements, and then deploy India's own innate capabilities of its own talent pool. Let them go and build on that. I think India can develop significant amount of uh, resources for the planet.
After having today's discussion, there are immense positive vibes now created. And I firmly believe that people who are thinking of getting into this industry, they have got a roadmap. Now they have understood what is the way ahead. And we can now understand that the future of e-mobility in India is amongst the most brightest thing that is going to happen. And we are extremely thankful to you, Shiba and Kamlesh, for sharing your valuable and very important thoughts on this platform. And we would look forward to have many more such live interactions. And extremely thankful to all the people who have joined us today. And I am Swarup Gandevar, organizer and host, LinkedIn Local Nagpur. Would like to sign off now. Thanks a lot for connecting. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Swarup.
Thank you.